Hi, this is Hill Ghost on air again, and I'd like to talk a little about Karl Marx. I'm not exactly the most popular guy, but a very misunderstood guy. For example, he said that to each according to the need, from each according to their ability. This makes it seem, at least to me, it makes it sound like what happened classically with communist states, and that the government would determine the appropriate to and from for each person. To me, I like to say contribute according contribute as much as you can, consume only what you must. And to me, that puts the mark on the individual to make sure he is not consuming beyond what he absolutely needs, and that he is contributing to the greater society as much as he can. Also, the whole thing with private property, Karl Marx was more like the means of production should be owned by the workers. To me, that's not really a Soviet type state. To me, private property, everything you own, that you have, everything, things like that, I prefer to think of it as stewardship instead of ownership. You use everything you steward, you hold in trust for the greater society. Everybody owns everything, but and you what the things that you need for day-to-day life, you are the steward of that, steward, the keeper, it's like the innkeeper, and you must take care not to overconsume, because you are just the keeper, not the owner, who can abuse what you have and what you do to the maximum amount, like a capitalist does. To me, the most ironic thing about Marx is that his philosophy is utterly unworkable in the size of a nation state as he imagined. It's better off being a personal philosophy for a small group or an individual. An individual obviously can much easier, much easier for an individual to determine if he is consuming too much or contributing too little, or maybe by the consensus of a small commune. On the level of a nation state, it tends to lead to what you saw in Cambodia and Soviet Union under Stalin, where it becomes the philosophy of utopianism, and of course utopia cannot exist, and the only way to get it to exist is to kill shitloads of people. And obviously that's not a good thing, and that's why that's what understanding that Marx was describing a utopian society that somehow could be unleashed at the level of a nation state. That killed 100 million people. But if you yourself take Marx's teaching to heart and start to act in a Marxist fashion, you could do that. I mean, let Elon Musk have his government agencies and electric cars and whatnot. You don't need to overconsume. You don't need a closet full of clothes. You don't need all this extraneous stuff that American civilization wants you to buy. All you really need is what you should aim to possess. You should only possess what you need, and then contribute as much as you can to society. In that sense, it may be utopianism, but it doesn't involve killing yourself most of the time. Later in later videos, you'll see where I live. You'll see how I put this into practice in my own life. And so that, with obviously events the last couple days, today's April 4th, April 5th, and with the events the last couple days, many Americans are going to have to be downsizing their lives and accepting a lower standard of living. And when you take Marxist philosophy to heart, you can lower your standard of living, yet still be happy. It's sort of like the World Economic Forum saying, own nothing and be happy. Well, there's a baseline of thinking to own for your own stewardship, be a steward of certain things that you need to function in the day-to-day, and anything more than that you don't need. So that's just some thoughts on Karl Marx. And Hill Ghost is signing off.